Welcome to another SCOD lecture. I invite you to please read along with me in your books. SCOD Thesis Theory. Prolog. Well, where to begin? It isn't as fancy and sterile as pure industrial modernism, but I am advocating the design styles of Frank Lloyd Wright, Paulo Soleri, and Buckminster Fuller. Historic revival styles are also encouraged as anachronisms and hybrids of modern and historic. The clients are the most important part of this thesis, as is common in architecture. They have to be into the themes presented here or present themes of their own, and that is a core component of SCOD Thesis. And it will take a dedication to living with the themes in some kind of unity, living the themes through architecture. Architecture as landscape. This is my battle cry, and our architecture must allow for the landscape to provide its natural bounty. Architecture should mostly blend and integrate with nature. McDonough's fundamental elements of ecology inspired me, along with many other environmental authors. I want to study how the elements of nature affect our tensile membrane and mass load-bearing shelters. By examining the details of structures and how they react over time with natural forces, we can be more ethical in the survival of our species, in our own ways. I call this how the four whats do. Acknowledging our prosperity during times of peace, despite perpetual war, we are able to acknowledge and analyze our existence, meditate, and talk about things like landscape and our relation to it. We find problems. We try to make them better. This kind of dialogue is important. We must use a rational approach that is aware of history, living, and learning from the past to plan for the future. And that's a reference, again, not only to McDonough, but a pattern language and other authors and books. Reality is comprised of infinite perspectives and interpretations of language, of the languages of nature. And I clarify there, not just one language, which sometimes I refer to mathematics as the one language of nature, but we could also view other disciplines as nature speaking to us through math, music, light, etc. SCOD accepts that science, magic, and art are all part of nature. Life can be seen as a game, a play, a war, or a joke. It is all of these things. Architecture should reflect these thoughts and allow us to laugh. If architecture doesn't allow us to laugh, what good is it? Well, it does give us another fundamental of life, which is shelter. Architecture should be functional, with adequate space, and allow us to have time to think. Again, this is way of life, career, livelihood. This is what humans are all about, is trying to figure all these things out and how best to live and how they want to live. We should think of fellow animals and life itself and plants. Do we need fancy technological convenience more than we need life on this planet? I think no. Life on this planet is more important than mere convenience. I think popular priorities are not yet clear amongst our leaders, the rich, the poor, or even the middle class in America today. And we can get into the reasons behind that. Now, obviously, there's more complexity involved with technology such as health and well-being factors. In other words, modern conveniences are also help us to not die as much as we used to. Before we had as much technology, certainly there was more death and violence. But we certainly have violence at a large industrial scale now, and that's worth talking about too, I think. So anyway, I will get into more at a later date, and just testing out some things here. Okay, thank you.